Hi, my name is Brian Gleason, and along with my wife, Marcia, we're the co-creators of The Exceptional Relationship. The Exceptional Relationship is an approach to working with long-term committed couples. And in our approach, we emphasize and focus on what the relationship can accomplish, what the high-end potential is for you as a couple, not just on overcoming problems within the relationship. So when we look at traditional couple therapy, the emphasis even in the word therapy is on the idea that you as a couple are coming in with some kind of pathology or some kind of dysfunction or diagnosable situation that is amenable to a certain type of treatment. We take a very different approach in our work with couples, and in that we primarily see the problems that couples come in with as being related to a lack of education in some pretty fundamental areas. So the reason I'm doing this video today is because we want to let you know where we're headed with our work. Over the course of our 35 years together, Marcia and I have worked with couples in a variety of ways, but all of them in person. So we've worked individually with couples, we've worked with couples groups, and we've done workshops for couples around the world. Our latest endeavor is we're creating an online educational series, which I want to introduce you to today and offer up to you that we're giving the first module, the first lesson, free of charge. And then in the fall, we're going to launch the rest of the modules for a complete package that you can either purchase individually or as a whole package. But the emphasis in these educational online series is on learning how to navigate certain things that come up for all couples. And I'm going to give you a couple of specifics in a moment. But every couple that we've ever worked with tends to get into trouble because of specific issues that come up that either one or both partners are not fully educated in how to relate to each other. Most of us come into committed relationships with lacking the tools of intimacy. So let me give you an idea of what we're going to cover in this online, in these online courses. First off, one of the major subjects is what we would describe as mastering conflict. Now, most of us have come to believe that conflict is something to be avoided and is the hallmark of a bad relationship. We'd like to introduce you to the possibility or a different kind of awareness that conflict is actually not only inevitable in your relationship, but that it's useful and productive, and that the problem isn't the conflict itself. It's that for most couples get bogged down in the first level of a conflict, which is blame and judgment. In the online course, we're going to help you to learn how to move from that level of blame and judgment through down to the deepest level of what conflict is trying to accomplish, which is to wrestle with some differences between you and your partner so that you can get back to understanding each other, standing in your truth, and hearing the other person's truth and opening your hearts to each other. And there's a pathway to make that happen that makes conflict productive, not destructive. Another lesson will be on what we call emotional literacy. Emotional literacy is, most of us have not been really schooled in knowing what we feel and how to express what we feel. So the course on emotional literacy is going to take you through the range of human emotions, how to connect to them, how to open to what you're feeling, and how to express it to your partner. So that's a second part of the series. We're also going to be covering something that Marcia and I refer to as meta skills. And meta skills are those basic inherent skills that we're all born with that most of us haven't nurtured and cultivated over the course of our lives. So for example, curiosity, the willingness to be curious and ask questions and getting to know who your partner is, rather than in your mind holding that you know who they are and having having certain judgments about them, but when you have judgments, how do you be curious and how do you get to a deeper truth? Humility. How can you own your own limits, your own mistakes, your own flaws, so to speak? How do you stand in the truth of being an imperfect human being? Vulnerability. How do we make space to express those tender feelings inside that most of us have learned to protect because we've been shamed or criticized in some way? And also learning to listen to your own body signals. One of the great tools we have in relationship is listening to what our body is telling us. In neuroscience, this is referred to as bottom-up wisdom. Marcia and I like to call it intuition. But the essence is that we oftentimes get gut feelings, we get senses of something, we don't know quite how to put it into words, but that sense of something comes from our body and is a clue that something needs to be addressed in the relationship. So these are some of the things we're going to cover. We're also going to cover sexuality and a variety of other subjects. I want to say before I end here, though, that we're offering our first online lesson free of charge. It's available now on the website, and we invite you to roll up your sleeves and dig in and tell us what you think. Each of these lessons or modules are fairly extensive. If you just sat and listened to the introductory lesson from beginning to end, it runs about an hour. But embedded in each of the lessons are experiences and explorations and things for you to practice as a couple. So we really encourage you to stop along the way and practice these things and begin to bring them into your life more and more. Finally, I just want to say that sometimes even with all the education, there are moments where we get stuck in our relationship. And this can happen for many reasons. Oftentimes, it's the result of leftover childhood wounding or trauma that we are holding in our bodies, and it keeps us in a protected place and unable to take some of the risks that are required for the relationship to become an exceptional relationship. So if that's the case and you're feeling stuck, we do have mentors available online, and in some cases, depending on where you live, perhaps in person. We have people that are trained in our exceptional relationship approach available. But we want you to start with trying to take some time going for it, opening up to this first lecture and course that we're offering, and let us know what you think. Thanks.